Play.fm takes 0% on every sale. 0 on sync licensing, too. Sounds like a no-brainer Bandcamp replacement, right? It's not, and I'd rather you hear the weaknesses than the pitch. So here's the verdict, up front before I explain anything. Play.fm is a genuine Bandcamp alternative for one specific type of artist. Someone with a real catalog, willing to drive their own traffic, who wants a second income stream through sync licensing. For that person, it's better than Bandcamp on the money. For everybody else, Bandcamp is still the right answer. Now, I'll show you the exact break-even number later so you can work out which one you are. But first, the thing you're actually running from. But let's be fair to Bandcamp. It's earned a lot of goodwill, and most of it is deserved. Real fans, real discovery, a genuine buyer culture nobody else has. But the fees are the fees. 15% on digital sales, drops to 10% once you hit $5,000 in a trailing 12 months. Physical goods, 10%, and payment processing sits on top of all of it. Bandcamp's own help center says processing runs between 4 and 6%, so run it on a $10 track. Bandcamp takes $1.50. A standard processor takes 2.9% plus 30 cents. That's 59 cents. You keep $7.91, not 10. On Play.fm, same track, 0 to the platform, 59 cents to your processor. You keep $9.41. That's $1.50 more per sale. And yeah, there's Bandcamp Friday, which is genuinely a good thing. On those days, Bandcamp waives its share entirely. You keep everything minus processing. There are 8 of them in 2026. Next one, September 4th. 8 days a year is real money if you time releases around it. It's also 8 days out of 365. That's the whole point of this comparison. So what is Play.fm actually? It's 2 things. A storefront, you get a page with your tracks and prices on it, live in minutes. And separately, a sync briefs board, where music buyers post what they need and you pitch tracks at them. The storefront competes with Bandcamp directly. The sync half doesn't compete with anything because Bandcamp doesn't have it. Here's what your storefront looks like. Your tracks, your prices, buy buttons. Fans purchase straight from this page. And here's the key part. Play.fm never handles the money at all. Fans pay you directly through your own payout link. That's how they can charge 0%. They literally can't take a cut of a transaction they're not part of. Now, 0% is the kind of claim that usually has a catch buried in it. The mechanism here is straightforward. Their revenue comes from your subscription. You pay a monthly fee instead of a percentage. Over 100 sales at $10, that's $150 that stayed with you instead of going to the platform. That's the entire money argument. It's real, it's simple, and it's also exactly where the catch lives, which I'll get to. But here's the thing. This is the part that makes Play.fm more than a cheaper Bandcamp. The Sync Briefs Board. Buyers from film, TV, documentaries, games, ads, they post briefs describing the music they need with the budget attached. At time of writing, the board was showing 23 briefs open with $21,720 in live budgets. Range of $120 to $3,000 per placement. And the briefs themselves are specific, which is what tells you they're real. Recent examples included an indie feature film wanting end credits music at $1,500 to $3,000, a festival short film score at $2,500, an animated short at $2,200, a science documentary underscore at $2,000, and an educational streaming series that wanted 8 tracks for $1,800. Now put that against streaming, because the comparison is genuinely absurd. One $3,000 placement is roughly the same money as 750,000 streams at $0.004 a play. 750,000. One license. Bandcamp has no equivalent to this. Not a worse version, no version. If sync is something you want to try, this is the actual reason to look at Play.fm, more than the percentage. And does it take AI music? Yes. The policy is every genre welcome, stated plainly, and that includes tracks made in Suno or Udio. Now, I want to be careful here because this is where reviews get sloppy. Bandcamp doesn't have a stated ban on AI music. It hasn't announced a policy either way. So the honest framing isn't Bandcamp will throw you off. It's that Played.fm has told you where it stands, and Bandcamp hasn't. That's the whole claim, and it's enough. So what do you keep? Masters, publishing, rights, all yours. That's standard, and Bandcamp does the same, so it's not a differentiator. But the fan list is. Every email you collect is yours to export and take anywhere. If you've ever tried to get a usable mailing list off a platform you didn't control, yeah, you know why that matters. There's also a creative studio bundled in, mastering and cover art included in every plan. It's not replacing a mastering engineer on a record you care about, but for getting a back catalog sounding finished without paying per track, it does the job. Here's what it costs. 3 plans. Artist, $12.99 a month or $129 a year. Unlimited tracks, storefront, listed in their Explore and Browse sections. Pro, $19.99 a month or $199 a year. Adds 3 sync pitches a month. Fan email export. Name your price. Pre-orders. Basic analytics. Label, $29.99 a month or $299 a year. 10 pitches a month at priority. Roster and team seats. Advanced analytics. Now compare that honestly. Bandcamp charges nothing to list. Played.fm charges a subscription. You're swapping a percentage for a fixed cost, and which one wins depends entirely on your volume. Which brings us to the part you should actually care about. Right, where this thing is weak. 6 of them. And honestly, I'd rather you remember these than anything I've said so far. 1. The subscription is a real risk if you don't sell. This is the big one. On Bandcamp, a bad month costs you nothing. On Played.fm, a bad month costs you the subscription. Here's the break even. You save 15% of your sales revenue by moving. The artist plan at $12.99 needs about $87 a month in sales before the saving covers the fee. Pro at $19.99 needs about $133 a month. Under that, you're paying for the privilege of keeping 100% of not very much. 2. Discovery is not close to Bandcamp's. There's an Explore page and a Browse section, and being listed is real. But Bandcamp has 15 years of buyers who browse it as a habit. Played.fm doesn't have that yet, and might never. Realistically, you're bringing your own traffic. If your plan was put it up and get found, this platform will not do that for you. 3. A pitch is not a placement. And Played.fm says this on their own site, which I respect. A pitch is a submission. Briefs typically shortlist a handful out of many. The buyer sets the fee. Nothing guarantees a deal. Do not budget for sync income. Treat any placement as upside. 4. Treat that briefs banner as marketing copy. We checked that 23 briefs open, $21,720 in live budgets figure repeatedly over several weeks. It hasn't moved once. That's a strong sign it's static copy on the page rather than a live counter. The individual briefs look real and specific, but the headline number? Decoration. Don't pick the platform because of it. 5. You are the payment processor now. The flip side of Played never touches the money is that Played never touches the money. Refunds, chargebacks, disputes, tax handling, all yours. Bandcamp absorbs a lot of that boring admin, and its cut is partly what you're paying for. And 6, it's young. Smaller catalog, shorter track record, less proven than a platform that's been running since 2008. That's not a criticism of the product. It's just the risk you take on any newer platform. And it's a fair thing to weigh. So when should you just stay on Bandcamp? Stay if you already have a following there. The audience is the asset, not the storefront. Walking away to save 15% on sales you might not make is a bad trade. And stay if you sell physical, vinyl, tapes, merch. Played.fm is digital first, and stay if you're a low-volume seller. Under that $87 a month, the subscription costs you more than the percentage ever did. Same if your sales basically all cluster on Bandcamp Fridays, because on those days, Bandcamp's cut is 0 too. You're comparing 0 to 0. Now, quick practical note if you're also going to put music on Spotify alongside your storefront, because most people selling direct want the streaming trickle running too. Getting onto Spotify and Apple Music means going through a distributor like DistroKid, and distributors screen uploads now. Tracks out of Suno and Udio carry embedded provenance markers you can't hear, and those can get a release flagged or pulled after the fact. So before you send a distribution copy out, run it through Undetector. It handles that release prep and does a mastering pass in the browser, one time €39 for unlimited tracks. To be clear, your Played.fm storefront copy doesn't need it at all, only the copy going to a distributor. So here's the final verdict. Played.fm earns the Bandcamp alternative label with conditions. The 0% is real and the mechanism behind it holds up. The sync board is the genuine differentiator and the reason I'd tell someone to try it. The AI policy is stated instead of implied. But it's a subscription. It will not find you an audience. And if you're selling less than about $87 a month, it is straightforwardly worse for you than Bandcamp. This is a tool for someone with a catalog and a plan, not someone hoping a platform switch fixes a traffic problem. If you know the difference, you already know which one you are. That said, if it does sound like you, there's a 7-day free trial of the full Pro tier. You're not charged today. It's $19.99 a month after, unless you cancel. And the trial gives you up to 3 tracks and 1 sync pitch, which is enough to put a real brief in front of a real buyer and see what happens before you've paid anything. Links in the description. And subscribe. We review the tools that actually pay, and we tell you when they don't.